Hello, 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 everyone. Good morning. Happy Taco Tuesday. How is everyone doing today? Nice little up move in the markets, completing essentially the rest of the double patterns. So we will see what's going to onboard next. Walmart and Home Depot earnings. I know Walmart was down pretty big, cutting guidance and missing on EPS, but beating on revenue. Home Depot slightly up. Core retail sales, as Davey is on the ball, coming in with you see it right here, retail sales on the core. Oh, look. Wait, hold on. Special guest. Oh boy. We got to pause everything. I got Bob Iacchino is joining. Hold on, let me get through. If you want to know more, please do consider subscribing, ringing that bell, and hitting the like button. Longer term viewers, leave the comments except for the one concerning Elon. I'll talk to everyone. Let me bring on Bob right now, and then we can get through some other stuff. Hold on. There we go. Bob, you are on.
I'm on. So I just wanted to come on because I'm watching the retail sales number, and obviously it came in as expected, up 0.9% versus a forecast of up 0.9. That's the month over month figure. What I wanted to point out to everybody is that retail sales are not inflation adjusted. So what I mean by that is if prices are going up and sales stay the same, retail sales goes up because the prices are up. So I just wanted to point that out and just to make sure everybody knows that doesn't affect the inflation narrative. So to that point, the biggest part of retail sales in terms of it being a bullish number for the equity markets is the revisions of the last couple of months. So just going off of the previous month's reading was supposed to be up 0.5, and they revised it to up 1.4. That's a big jump. So something that happens in inflationary environments is people rush to buy things because they think prices will be even higher next time. So that's the only thing I wanted to tell you guys. So take this with a grain of salt in terms of how strong the consumer is. The consumer is definitely still strong. Savings rates show that. But this doesn't do anything for the inflation narrative, as you might be hearing on Bloomberg or anywhere else you see right now from the actual anchors, that the consumer spending is still strong. It's strong because it has to be, because prices are going up. You look at the X autos, it came out even higher, which means other goods prices are higher as well. So he's expected a 0.4, ended up at up 0.6, and the previous number was revised to up 2.1. That has a lot to do with prices, and it has a lot to do with the runoff effects of people thinking prices are going to be even higher in the future. So this is actually a bad sign for the Fed. I don't suspect we have a bunch of Fed speakers today, and I don't suspect we'll hear them word it that way. But and also, not all of it is the price effect. Some of it is increased spending. But again, a lot of that increased spending I'm theorizing, has to do with people expecting prices to be higher later. So that's all I wanted. That's the only reason I jumped in.
That's it?
That's it.
That's it.
Yeah, I mean, look, I already predicted the medium-term bottom that's happening, and I very conveniently said I don't know when it's going to happen so that I could take credit whenever it did happen.
Was interesting. What I was going to lead off with was retail sales were not inflation adjusted.
Right.
And you jumped on, stole my thunder. Clay.
It's just really important for people to understand, because I actually had someone text me and say, consumers are still spending. Well, on some things they have to. Department store sales were up. Okay, so people are going to actual stores. Department store sales were up. As Josh just said, Home Depot crushed it. Walmart did as well. We talked a while back about liking Walmart and Dollar General and some of those stores, especially the Walmart, which is sort of a discount department store. Mike and I talked about that a couple of weeks back.
Walmart was about down 6% today.
Yeah, I mean they did really well.
They guided. Yeah, their guidance was horrible.
Yeah, they guided lower.
And they
So,
missed on EPS, but they did beat on revenue. But what does that tell you? Because
prices.
they're absorbing some inflation then, because they're still beating on revenue, but their costs are going up, and they can't
Right.
pass it all along to consumers yet.
This is the narrative. Now, another reason Home Depot crushed it, by the way, if you could put up a Home Depot chart, Mike, and this again it's a personal anecdote. Speaking to someone I know that works at Pulte Homes. Actually, where is it in the we're still pre-market, right?
Yeah,
We're still pre-market. I'm going to look and see where it's trading in the pre-market.
307.
307. Okay, so it's up.
Up
So
slightly.
yeah, slightly. So Home Depot crushed it in part because builders are running to Home Depot for things they used to get at suppliers to see if they have it. Pulte Homes down here in Florida, I can't speak for anywhere else. I can actually only speak for Naples, Bonita, Fort Myers, that area. They're actually only releasing 2 houses a month, even though they've sold most of the houses because they can't get them built. And a pool is actually no longer an option, even though it's 400 degrees down here. A pool is no longer an option because they can't get the supplies to build you a pool. So they're basically saying if you want a pool, you got to put it in yourself later. So yeah, that's part of the reason Home Depot killed it. That's it.
All right. Well, I will get back to the price action analysis.
All right, I'm going.
And will you be on this afternoon?
Yeah, I'll be on this afternoon.
All right. We'll come back this afternoon and see more of Bob. Have a great day, Bob.
Cheers, guys.
All right. Let's see. Thank you again for being here. We already covered that. We'll take a look at Tesla. We can take a look at Apple if you want, but Apple's still in sell mode for me based off the rotation zone. So sells could be any buys are potential just short-term pops and then rollover plays. Waka, you're thinking a recession is every day. Yeah, we are going into a recession, but we shall see. Good morning, Jacob. I mean, I'm bearish long term. We keep talking about this, but you get these bullish moves. And I saw a comment about why are we up? Well, because we're still with the probabilities we're coming out of oversold conditions with cycles turning up. So I'm going to now start watching on continued rallies for the next topping pattern. Let's rally to see. Let's rally to 430 so I can buy some cheap puts. Yeah, I mean, rallies are in these markets are just opportunities set up for another great short play. Good morning, Wavy. Let's bring power so I can crush this thing already. And as Bob said, we have a bunch of Fed speakers. We've already got Bullard out of the way, and let me switch cameras now. There we go. Bullard out of the way. That camera needs a little fine tuning. And then we have Harker speaking coming up like in 3 minutes. We got industrial production coming out. I'm going to be watching that with capacity utilization. Business inventories are coming up to see if those are growing or shrinking. Housing market. Then we got Powell at 1 p.m. Central, so 2 p.m. Eastern. Mester right after the close, and then Evans also this evening. So lots of stuff on board. FOMC still with that 50 basis point. And I know we're still in negative gamma. Don't know why that popped out. They might be having a site problem this morning. Tried to refresh it earlier. Why is it rallying? Hey, let's see. Good morning, Ahmed. Good morning, Options 22. Thank you, Josh, for pushing that in. Good morning, Sterling. Bob, the fortune teller. Bob, the TV expert who knows how to word things so he can always be right. Good morning, Paul. I thought we were going down this morning. Why did you think we were going down? We still had the rest of the Nasdaq double pattern to continue. And so this is my target area, so I'm considering it hit because I also drew this other line for my own sake. S&P, remember I said we normally get a reaction off the rotation zone first, and then we push higher, and we just tapped the 50%. So now I'm going to be watching to see if we get a nice reversal set up between the 50 and the 62 in the daily rotation zone. Remember, with options on Friday, 4,000 is the big pin level. That doesn't mean we have to go lower today. All right. The only thing now is we have all these Fed speakers, well, especially Powell. But, you know, based off this, it's reacting at that 50% level with that harmonic cluster. So we could see some follow through still through the morning. Don't have any great little topping pattern yet. We just have this little flag. Essentially, this. Let me just do this. Just this little flag pattern off the S&P, coming back to that 1 hour rotation zone, and major support is essentially yesterday's high area to about 40.29 to about 40.42. So even on a pullback in the open, you have the rising 1 hour rotation zone. You have a 4 hour rising 4 hour rotation zone, and you see here this key little area with your, let me zoom in. So prior major resistance where we got that pausing area, now support. So can we still get follow through, push higher? Yes, easily. Cycles at the top, but not yet rolling over with the 4 hour or getting in on the top. Cycles closing in on the top, yet not at the top on the daily. And the weekly finally turning up. So there is potential for more upside ahead. This is what you got to stop reacting and keep talking about this to every headline as if we're going to go to zero tomorrow. You get these counter rally moves even if the data isn't very strong. Things reposition. So just keep that in mind. 2-year is up 330 and 10-year is 232. 10-year I'm still watching for this battering pattern. We got a little pullback with the cycles rolling over on the daily, but the weekly are turning up. So this could be setting up for a really nice, I'd love this to come back down below the 75% harmonic and set up that longer term double bottom. That would be fantastic, but the first area I'm watching for support is 118.21 into 118.09 to see if we rotate back up in there, and then we break below that 62.5. Then I'm going to be watching for the major bottoming pattern. Fantastic with the, again, weekly turning up. First reaction to the weekly rotation zone, daily pulling back, and then we could get some very interesting long-term setups in notes. Let's see. China reopening apparently is bullish, but idiots don't think this will only make inflation rage on. I mean, it could ease up a little more supply chain in a couple months, but you know, it's bullish for crude, and crude we have still pushing higher, and crude was pushing higher even with the lockdowns. Nasdaq, here's again what I'm going into the open with. I'm watching these little flag patterns. That's essentially what I'm watching with the open. And if we break lower, Nasdaq trying to hold this little support area from yesterday, for Sunday night, really. So if it drops back below, then I'm really focused on the area. I'm going to take this double pattern. I don't think everybody needs these doubles since it's just a little bit away from hitting, but it hit that cluster area. Well, if we do have a bigger pullback, 12,334 with the 4 hour rotation zone. Now remember, the only thing that invalidates this move, I'll start getting concerned if we break below the 50%. For the continued up move, but the only thing that really invalidates it statistically is a close below that 62.5. Okay, and you see we got the reaction with the Nasdaq at the rotation zone and now pushing through it. Now the Nasdaq's acting weaker, so if I was going to do a bullish play, my first thing I'd be turning to is pretty much the S&P. All right, let's just get the harmonics on here for targets moving higher, since we've completed the double virtually. So on a push through the open higher, 12.6 exactly, 12.701. So there's your next two harmonics going to the upside. And just for the point of completeness, still remember we're a long way off from a rotation zone on the weekly, and just going into it on the daily. So anywhere up in here, going to be watching for that rollover play. And this is not even close to the from this last major move down to 50%, but from the minor move down, let me pull this off real quick. From the minor move down, approaching the 50 to the 62.5 with the rotation zone and the descending trend line. So anywhere in here, I will be watching for some topping patterns. Dow, again, in between the 50 and the 62.5 through that 32,616. Next push up, I'm watching 32,779. Then major would be 32,920 area, right up around the 62.5. Nice little rally back into this. Daily cycles getting to the top but not rolling over. Weekly cycles turning up. 4 hour at the top. So I am watching for more aggressively for topping patterns in the Dow. But on a pullback, my major support areas back at the 4 hour rotation zone 32,306. Russell. Again, we're getting a little push higher, Russell, as I talked about the last one I'm interested in, but support's coming back about 1791 and on the push higher. Let's just see where those harmonics are. Russell, we're topping right here, then 1830, then if we get through there, back to 1856. DAX, no, the double, not potential anymore. DAX moving on up. Through this back to that, now this channel is broken. So next, and we're sitting at the 50. If we don't roll over here with a topping pattern, then I have to target back to 14,320. Crude, I talked about the bullish area. We're just shy of that harmonic. Still watching on a daily close above about 116.50. 116.50, then I get more aggressive on pullback moves for higher pushes. On a shorter term top, I'll be watching if we do break down below about 113.40. I'm watching for a little bigger pullback before we make that next push, and that pullback would be about a 111.50, 111.30. Already looked at notes. Dollar index completed the double and continued lower. Looks like we might be getting a topping pattern in. So now I'm watching for a longer term, not necessarily today, but I'm watching for a pullback to about the 102.40 to about 102.15 level. Then a reaction back up to set in a major weekly topping pattern on the dollar index. VIX completed. You can see here, completed that daily double top right to the bottom. And yesterday we did get the close below the 62.5. So I'm still expecting some statistically lower price action, 26.29 to about 25.03 to watch for a potential bottoming pattern. If we did break below the lows from the 4th of May, then I'm using the harmonics, especially with a reconnect with the 200 simple, which would just keep a short-term rally in place longer. Ken, welcome. Fed 75 basis points are in play and is justified option now. Well, we'll see if they start leaning more that way. They've been really still reiterating the 50% for the next 2 meetings. We're not getting a lot of hints yet that they will go 75, and the Fed Watch tool isn't at 10%, not even favoring it yet. So let's see if any of that shifts today. What else do we have? Inflation is out of control, 75 basis points for Bullard. That's fine, but you got to have because they do not want to shock the markets. I think 75 should be warranted too, personally, but I'm not. They're not leaning towards it yet, and they really start telegraphing it. If they were going to do space off all their speak and the way they've handled this so far this spring, if they were going to go 75, they'd start talking about it really shortly. They'd start prepping the markets for it right now with all their speeches. So, where else do we have? Good morning, Lauren. Let's see. Would be all right. What else do we have? Let's check in on Tesla. Here's what I'm watching this morning. Again, we have that double bottom I pointed out yesterday. You can even see it on the 1 hour. So that's above 741. We're pre-market here. So on any pullback trade, 741 to about 737 is a pullback play for then 751.95, 757, and 762.90 on a continued rally. where if you're playing that to the upside, your stops on a trade through basis would be about 724.70. On a closing basis, 727.45 is the way that should be played based off this. Again, I'd watch for a pullback so you get reward to risk, but that's the potential Tesla play to the upside. If Tesla, let me take this off. If we break back down and start taking out yesterday's lows, remember we did not get that 1 hour close below 62.5. That's the one I was watching on 1-4 or daily, and we did not get it. But if we roll back down there today, then I will be targeting the 72.5, 706. I know we had a question about Apple. Again, anything on Apple would be just for a short-term pop because we still have this double in play. We have the double in play. We are against the daily rotation zone. Is it a weekly buy? A weekly buy would only take place if we got a close, and it would be aggressive, but it would need a close above yesterday's week's high. Other than that, these are rollover play. These are pop plays for potential rollover plays to the short side. Just a reminder for the upside with Apple. Next target is it's sort of hard to see. Give me this. Here we go. Next target is 149 essentially, then 150.78, then 152.31 to the upside. So no, for me, it is not a weekly play. For me, this is a short-term pop play and then set up for Apple puts or Apple shorts or Apple short spread. For options 22, QQQ, same thing as yesterday. Let me get you the longer-term levels, though. So it looks like you're going to complete. I mean, you're up above the second target right now, and the final target would be 306.45. I would just, with that 4 hour, you might get some minor resistance about 305 exactly. But you see here 306.45. You get above there, you still have a gap play. So if we do continue this rally, this would be something that you could move up stops, take some more profits off the table, and then your full gap play would be up to 309.25. And if you're using your harmonics, all right, from the down move, you see here that full gap play is just between the 50 and the 62.5 and right into the daily rotation zone. So here's your intermediate targets, and this is your major target area, and I'd really be focusing on this key. The key close, I gave it wrong, is 309.25 right here, right in that between that 50 and the 62.5. So that's the area I'd be watching for stronger reversal plays. On any pullbacks in the Qs, you're still against that 4 hour. The key area you'd be watching now at this point would be this range from about 302.75 to about 302. Musk selling SpaceX. The selling machine. Yeah, if he sells some, somebody will buy it. By the way, Twitter. I mean, I'm all right. I ranted yesterday. I'm not going to get into it. I just wanted to see where it was sitting with the double targets. I just like to watch these things, this thing unfold. I'm going to be watching to see 36.70. And then if we really target, we got the close below 62.5. I just find this because even though it's a takeover candidate, I'm wondering statistically, because nothing's perfect with the statistics, but I'm wondering if they're going to play out with it's going to hit this full double target and these 87.5% harmonic. That's going to be very, very interesting, especially, with him claiming it can't move forward without the bot thing, which he should have put in due diligence if he was going to make that an issue, but he's now going to try to wiggle out after selling the Tesla shares. But we'll see what happens because it looks like Twitter's going to have none of it, and this is going to end up in court. So that's where we stand. I showed you what I was keying off of this morning. Even if we get a slightly bigger pullback, going to watch for that support area to hold from yesterday with this flag. remember, you can get a slightly bigger pullback into the rising rotation zone, but that still keeps it bullish. And then buy will get tipped more and more short-term bearish buy as the week rolls on. And remember to be nimble with all the Fed speak, especially with Powell. And let's see if they do hint with any more rapid hikes this afternoon. Let's see if they bring 75 into play. Other than that if they don't yet, then I'm still focused on those 50%. Twitter may go to zero. No, it would be bought by somebody else before it went to zero. It would be bought definitely by somebody else before it went to zero. Twitter's a great platform. It's just horribly mismanaged. It could be turned around to something really good. But would I pay $44 billion for it? Not on your life. What's Elon's cost basis on? It's somewhere in the 30s. It's somebody would have to type that in. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'd have to look that back up. But it's somewhere, I mean, he was accumulating down here, so it's somewhere in the mid 30s. Well, that would be really interesting. Oh boy. But he doesn't follow any rules, so it doesn't matter. It looks like the opening is going on, and I'm still rambling on. Let me just check on this. Not much going on yet. So I'm going to shift over to my trading platforms, and I will be, if anything major happens, not expecting it, but if anything major happens, I will do a lunch stream. Otherwise, getting a little selling pressure in right now, but nothing major. Otherwise, I will be here afternoon, and we will do a recap. Leave some comments. Come back after you're done trading the open and leave some comments on the video, and I'll talk to everyone later. Bye.